Detailed summary of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, extended. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is the third emotionally and plot-wise deepest book in J.K. Rowling's legendary 7-book series. It marks a significant departure from the lighter tone of its predecessors, immersing readers in a much darker, more complex, and psychologically richer wizarding world. This year at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry becomes a true turning point for Harry, as he confronts not only echoes of old evil in the form of Lord Voldemort, but also new, equally dangerous threats that force him to reevaluate his own history, trust, and the nature of justice. The book skillfully weaves together themes of betrayal and loyalty, guilt and innocence, destiny and free will, questioning everything Harry previously believed to be true. Unfortunate summer holidays and the wondrous night bus adventure. Summer holidays, as always, were synonymous with trials and humiliation for Harry Potter. He was forced to endure an unbearable existence in a peculiar prison, the home of his relatives, the Dursleys, at number 4 Privet Drive. This place had never been a home for him, but rather an arena for systematic bullying, emotional neglect, and the persistent denial of his magical identity. Vernon and Petunia Dursley, along with their son Dudley, made every effort to knock any signs of magic out of Harry. This summer, Harry's patience finally ran out during a visit from Aunt Marge Dursley, Uncle Vernon's sister. Marge, a pompous and crude woman who breeds bulldogs, was known for her tactless remarks and particular animosity towards Harry. She constantly insulted his parents, calling them worthless drunks, which pushed Harry to his breaking point. In a fit of uncontrolled anger, a natural reaction to prolonged abuse, Harry inadvertently but spectacularly used magic outside of school. He inflated Aunt Marge like a gigantic balloon. Marge swelled up like a dirigible and floated into the night sky, a moment that was utterly absurd but also deeply satisfying for Harry as a form of retribution. Panicked and fearing punishment from the Ministry of Magic for using magic outside school, a very serious violation of the Statute of Secrecy, Harry immediately fled the house, leaving the Dursleys in a state of shock and chaos. However, on the deserted street, where deep night reigned, he had an unexpected, almost surreal encounter. Before him appeared the night bus, a triple-decker, brightly purple bus that seemed cobbled together from parts of various vehicles. It served as emergency transport for wizards in distress. The driver, Stan Shunpike, who foolishly read a newspaper headline about Sirius Black, and the conductor Ernie Prang, with their stern but comical service style, left an unforgettable impression on Harry. The night bus transported him to the Leaky Cauldron, a disguised, secret pub that served as a hidden entrance to Diagon Alley, the bustling hub of the wizarding economy. To Harry's surprise, the Minister for Magic himself, Cornelius Fudge, was already waiting for him at the Leaky Cauldron. Instead of severely punishing Harry for using magic outside Hogwarts, which is an extremely serious offense, Fudge showed surprising leniency, almost concern. He offered Harry a room at the Leaky Cauldron, and even bought him his school supplies. Fudge's behavior seemed utterly strange, illogical, and unjustified to Harry. Harry couldn't understand the reasons for such gentleness and why he wasn't punished at all, even though Aunt Marge had floated away. Fudge was clearly frightened by something far greater than a minor prank by an underage wizard. The shadow of the past, Sirius Black's escape from Azkaban. While staying at the Leaky Cauldron and enjoying his freedom from the Dursleys, Harry gradually began to understand the true reasons behind Cornelius Fudge's peculiar behavior. From the newspaper headlines in the Daily Prophet that he saw and read, and from fragments of anxious conversations he overheard between adult wizards, a shocking and terrifying truth was revealed to Harry. A dangerously notorious criminal had escaped from Azkaban, the impregnable, grim wizarding prison located on a deserted island, Sirius Black. This news instantly swept through the entire wizarding world, causing a wave of panic and widespread fear. Black was considered one of Lord Voldemort's most devoted and fanatical followers, a notorious Death Eater. He was accused of horrific and bloody crimes. He was believed to be responsible for the murder of 13 people, 12 muggles and 1 wizard, Peter Pettigrew, who was supposedly torn to pieces. But the most terrible crime attributed to Black was the betrayal of James and Lily Potter, Harry's parents. It was believed that Black had been their secret keeper and had handed over their location to Voldemort, which led to their tragic deaths and, consequently, to Voldemort's downfall. The entire wizarding society, without exception, was convinced that Black, after 12 horrific years of imprisonment in Azkaban under the influence of Dementors, was in a deranged state and sought to finish his work, to find and kill Harry Potter, the only child who had survived Voldemort's deadly attack and thus miraculously survived his disappearance. This information instantly changed Harry's perception of his own safety. His childhood, already fraught with challenges, now turned into a constant quest for survival. He began to live in constant fear as he realized that Sirius Black, this dangerous murderer, could be lurking anywhere, even within the seemingly safe walls of Hogwarts. His third year of schooling began under the oppressive weight of this invisible yet very real threat, hanging over him like the sword of Damocles, terrifying Dementors, and the first Patronus lessons. The train journey to Hogwarts had always been Harry's favorite part of starting a new school year, a symbol of returning to his true life. But this year, it became a true test of endurance. The train suddenly stopped mid-journey, in complete darkness, and a sense of dread immediately enveloped all passengers. Into Harry, Ron, and Hermione's compartment crept Dementors, eerie, faceless creatures shrouded in black, tattered cloaks, who served as the guards of Azkaban. They are living embodiments of despair, their presence sucking all positive emotions from the surroundings, leaving only hopelessness and cold. They feed on human emotions, draining people of all happy memories and leaving them only with the most terrible moments of their lives. Their appearance caused an incredible chill that pierced to the bone, and a feeling of absolute emptiness and despair. Although the Dementors were presumably searching for Sirius Black, their aura affected Harry the most. He experienced a terrifying panic attack, and echoes of his most horrific memories surfaced in his mind. The last screams of his mother, Lily Potter, begging Voldemort not to kill Harry, and Voldemort's sinister laughter. Harry lost consciousness, and his friends were left helpless before this terrifying force. Fortunately, the new defense against the dark arts teacher, Professor Remus Lupin, was in the compartment. He proved to be an exceptionally calm, wise, and experienced wizard. Without hesitation, Lupin reacted to the situation, demonstrating his mastery in combating Dementors. He used the powerful, complex Patronus charm, Expecto Patronum, creating a luminous, silvery form that, like a shield, dispelled the darkness and forced the Dementors to retreat. This act of mastery greatly impressed Harry. After this incident, Lupin became a key figure in Harry's life. He not only understood that Harry was particularly vulnerable to the Dementors' influence due to his traumatic past, but also offered to teach him this difficult yet vital charm. The Patronus lessons became some of the most important for Harry, as he had to learn to concentrate on his happiest memories to conjure a Patronus and ward off these soul-sucking creatures. Lupin patiently explained that a Patronus is a form of positive energy, a direct antithesis to Dementors, and only pure joy can drive away despair. These lessons not only provided Harry with new magical skills, but also helped him better understand himself and the nature of fear. New subjects, unusual teachers, and dangerous creatures. The third year of study at Hogwarts brought with it a series of new and unusual subjects that significantly expanded the students' understanding of the wizarding world and its diversity. These subjects also became a source of new challenges and conflicts. One such subject was divination, taught by the eccentric, theatrical, and seemingly not always sane Professor Sybil Trelawney. She was very dramatic and self-important, and on the very first lesson, while interpreting tea leaves, she prophesied Harry's death, seeing in his cup the sign of the Grim, a sinister dog-like figure supposedly portending demise. This prophecy, though met with Hermione's skepticism, only intensified Harry's anxiety, who was already under constant pressure due to the threat of Sirius Black and his association with the image of a large black dog that constantly appeared nearby. Another new and no less interesting subject was care of magical creatures. To the students' surprise, it was taught by their kind but somewhat clumsy friend and Hogwarts gamekeeper Rubeus Hagrid. Hagrid, always full of enthusiasm and love for magical animals, tried to share his knowledge and passion. In the very first lesson, he introduced the students to a proud, beautiful, and somewhat dangerous creature, the hippogriff Buckbeak. Hagrid explained that hippogriffs are creatures that combine the features of an eagle and a horse, and they require extreme respect and cautious handling. One must approach them with a low bow, and if the hippogriff reciprocates, then it can be trusted. However, Draco Malfoy, Harry's eternal antagonist as always, sought to show his superiority and disregarded safety rules and etiquette. He defiantly approached Buckbeak, insulting him and failing to bow, which is a great disrespect for a hippogriff. In response, Buckbeak, defending its dignity, wounded Malfoy with its claw. This incident led to serious and far-reaching consequences. Malfoy, exaggerating his injuries and using the influence of his father, Lucius Malfoy, filed a complaint with the Ministry of Magic. This launched a lengthy and exhausting court process in the Wizengamot, threatening Buckbeak with the ultimate punishment, execution. This episode not only highlights the unpredictability and complexity of interacting with magical creatures, but also the danger of human pride, malice, and blind revenge, which can ruin the lives of innocent creatures. The secrets of the Marauder's map and the intricacies of fate. Harry's life at Hogwarts, despite the constant threat, became somewhat more interesting and opened up new possibilities thanks to an unexpected yet extremely useful gift. On the eve of a trip to Hogsmeade, the only all-wizarding village in Great Britain, which Harry was not allowed to visit due to the Dursleys' lack of permission, Fred and George Weasley gave him an astonishing artifact, the Marauder's map. This ancient parchment map, at first glance, looked like an ordinary, blank, worn piece of paper. However, upon activation with the magical words, "I solemnly swear that I am up to no good," it revealed all of Hogwarts' secrets. The map meticulously showed every classroom, every corridor, every secret passage hidden within the castle, and most importantly, the real-time location of every person in Hogwarts, marked by tiny moving dots with their names. This map became an indispensable tool for Harry, allowing him not only to secretly sneak into Hogsmeade through secret passages, such as the tunnel behind the one-eyed witch statue, but also to explore unknown corners of the school, discovering new opportunities for adventure. However, its true, profound value and mystery were revealed when Harry began to notice a name on it that caused him deep surprise and disbelief: Peter Pettigrew. According to the official version known throughout the wizarding world, Pettigrew had died at the hands of Sirius Black, posthumously awarded the Order of Merlin for his heroic death, which supposedly delayed Black. But now Pettigrew's name regularly appeared on the map, and, most strangely, always next to Ron Weasley. Initially, Harry thought it was a map error, perhaps just marking the echo of someone's presence, or some clever enchantment. But over time, observing the movement of the Peter Pettigrew dot, he began to doubt. This error turned out to be the key to solving an ancient and terrifying mystery that connected his parents' past with the present. The Marauders map created by Harry's father James Potter, Padfoot, his godfather Sirius Black, Prongs, Remus Lupin, Moony, and, as it would turn out, Peter Pettigrew himself, Wormtail, became a central element in revealing a truth that would change everything. The revelation of the shocking truth about Sirius Black and Pettigrew's exposure. The climax of the storyline with Sirius Black occurs when Harry accidentally overhears a conversation between Professors McGonagall, Flitwick, and Cornelius Fudge himself. From their anxious words, Harry learns that Sirius Black was not just his father James Potter's friend, but his best friend and Harry's godfather. He also learns that Black, James, Remus Lupin, and Peter Pettigrew had been inseparable friends since their school days at Hogwarts, where they were known as the Marauders. They were not just friends, but had also collectively mastered the complex magic of animagi, wizards capable of transforming into animals. James transformed into a stag, Sirius into a large black dog, and Pettigrew into a rat. Lupin, meanwhile, was a werewolf, and his friends learned animagus transformation to be able to keep him company and control him during the full moon, ensuring his safety and their own. The most shocking revelation was the terrible truth about Peter Pettigrew. Harry learns that Pettigrew had been the secret keeper for James and Lily Potter, not Sirius Black, as the entire wizarding world believed and as was assumed by the Ministry of Magic. This meant that it was Pettigrew who betrayed the Potters to Voldemort, revealing their location. He faked his own death, framing Black, who was unjustly imprisoned in Azkaban for crimes he did not commit. This revelation turned Harry's entire world upside down. All his hatred for Sirius Black, based on false assumptions and lies, evaporated. He realized that Black was not only innocent, but, on the contrary, sought revenge on Pettigrew for betraying his closest friends and for allowing Voldemort to kill the Potters. The culmination of the mystery occurs in the abandoned Shrieking Shack, the most haunted house in Britain, accessed by a secret passage beneath the Whomping Willow. Harry, Ron, and Hermione track Black, who had infiltrated the castle to find Pettigrew. Professor Lupin joins them, and seeing Black, he initially hesitates, but then, believing Harry and Hermione's words, helps him. During a tense conversation, Lupin and Black, now reunited after so many years, reveal the full, horrifying truth to Harry. They explain how Pettigrew, who was their mutual friend and a member of the Marauders, turned out to be a traitor, and then cynically blamed Sirius for his crimes, leaving him to rot in Azkaban. The biggest shock lies in the fact that Peter Pettigrew is alive, and for 12 years he had been hiding in the form of Ron Weasley's pet rat, Scabbers. He used his animagus form to remain undetected and live under the noses of the Weasley family. With the help of Lupin and Black, Ron forces Scabbers to reveal his true form. After transforming into a human, Pettigrew, exposed and cornered, begins to make excuses, but eventually confesses his crimes. He gave Voldemort the information about the Potter's whereabouts and then faked his own death, cutting off his finger and leaving it among the debris at the scene of an explosion that Sirius Black supposedly caused. However, just when it seems that justice will finally prevail and Pettigrew will be handed over to the Dementors, an unforeseen event occurs. The full moon rises, and Professor Lupin transforms into a werewolf. Although Sirius, in his animagus form of a large black dog, loyally tries to control Lupin and protect the children, the chaos resulting from the werewolf's transformation gives Pettigrew an opportunity to escape. He quickly transforms back into a rat and flees into the darkness. This escape has catastrophic consequences for the future of the wizarding world, as Pettigrew, as it turns out, will play a crucial role in Lord Voldemort's rebirth. This is a vivid example of how one seemingly minor event can change the course of history. The rescue of Sirius Black and Buckbeak, the magic of time and self-sacrifice. Despite the bitter disappointment of Pettigrew's escape, Hogwarts headmaster, Albus Dumbledore, demonstrates his wisdom and foresight. He has no doubt about Sirius Black's innocence, believing Harry and Hermione. Dumbledore gives Hermione the key to their salvation and the rectification of injustice, a time-turner. This incredible artifact, which Hermione had secretly used throughout the year to attend her many classes, explaining why she was so exhausted, now becomes a tool for saving lives. Harry and Hermione travel back in time by several hours to alter events. Their mission is to rescue Sirius Black from the Dementors' kiss, the worst fate a wizard can suffer, where a Dementor sucks out one's soul, leaving only a living but soulless husk. They also save Buckbeak from execution, which was ordered by the Ministry of Magic. When Sirius is in danger, surrounded by hundreds of Dementors on the shore of the lake near Hogwarts, Harry, remembering Lupin's lesson, conjures an incredibly powerful Patronus in the form of a stag. This Patronus is a silvery, luminous, and enormous form that not only repels countless Dementors, but also, as will later be revealed, is the same form as his father, James Potter's. This heroic act not only saves Sirius from a terrible fate, but also serves as the strongest proof of his innocence, as only an innocent person with pure intentions could conjure such a powerful Patronus. After rescuing Black, Harry and Hermione help him escape on Buckbeak's back, who is now also free. This episode demonstrates Harry's incredible bravery, his deep commitment to justice, and his willingness to risk everything for those he loves. It also shows how crucial Lupin's lessons proved to be for Harry. Aftermath in the future, legacy, loss, and new horizons. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban concludes with Harry, Ron, and Hermione returning home for the summer holidays, but nothing will ever be the same. Sirius Black is now free, though still on the run as a wanted criminal. However, for Harry, he becomes not only a godfather but a true family member, someone who understands him, supports him, and loves him, providing him with that much-needed sense of belonging and family. Sirius writes Harry a letter, promising to stay in touch and even gifting him an owl, Hedwig. Professor Lupin is forced to resign from his position as Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, as rumors of his werewolf nature spread after the incident with Pettigrew and his transformation under the full moon. His departure is a significant loss for Hogwarts, as he was one of Harry's most competent, wise, and beloved teachers who helped him master extremely important skills. This book is a turning point in the entire series. It not only expands Harry Potter's world, adding new, more complex dimensions of magic, such as the Time Turner, Animagi, and Patronuses, and revealing intricate historical threads connected to Harry's parents and their friends. It is a much darker, more complex, and psychologically profound book than its predecessors, laying the groundwork for future, even more dramatic events. Harry matures, his worldview changes. He understands that the world is not as black and white as he once thought, and that even those considered heroes can be traitors, while those condemned turn out to be innocent victims of circumstance and lies. He realizes that there are many shades of gray in the world, and that the truth can be hidden behind years of deception, false assumptions, and mistakes. This book prepares Harry for much greater challenges that await him in the future. Although Voldemort is physically absent, his shadow becomes increasingly palpable. Peter Pettigrew's escape is a critical moment that will directly lead to the events unfolding in the fourth book, where the Dark Lord will begin to regain form, and the wizarding world will once again plunge into war. Prisoner of Azkaban is a story about coming of age, about overcoming fears, and about the importance of seeking the truth, even if it turns out to be far more complex than it seemed. Harry finally finds a part of his family and learns about the true heroic story of his parents, which gives him new strength and determination.